Hi, this is Melana. Welcome to my new YouTube channel, Melana On The Path. I'm really excited about making this recording and starting this whole journey in love with you, the world. It's been a dream of mine that spanned decades. And now that I'm here, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm twice as excited. I recorded a video earlier and it sounded like I was not alive, not unalived, but close enough. I have a little congestion in my throat and a bit in my nose, so the fatigue of all of that sounded, came through really too much in the earlier video, not all of it. So what I'm doing here is I am doing an opening, and then I'm going to segue to the part where in the first video I started having a pulse. It's almost an hour long, so I don't want to go and have to repeat all of that. But I will say this, I am starting a journey in love. I have all this material that I've been entrusted with to share with you about what it means to love the self, what is the truth of love, why is it urgent at this particular time in our lives, and what we need to be doing to ensure the continuation of the human race. And I'm not saying that lightly, I'm saying that with clarity and meaning. We are being faced with a big job here, one that we're always going to have to do because of the situation, the circumstances we have found ourselves in on planet Earth. There is a war going on, in case you don't know that. A spiritual war, you can call it. War between the light and the dark, between love and fear, between God, Goddess, and Satan. However you want, whichever one of those you feel most comfortable embracing. But the bottom line is that we are in the middle of a spiritual war and the human race is at stake. Our future as human beings, having to deal with that, whether we can or cannot, is at stake. And there are those of us who have been entrusted years ago with the keys and the answers to deal with this situation. This was always going to happen, okay? Where we are now is not an accident. It isn't something that no one saw coming, because there are those of us who've been preparing for this for years. And after 35 years of planning for this time, it's finally here, and I'm here, and I'm prepared, and I got stuff for you. I've got messages, I've got insights and downloads and channeled information. I have tools. I have worked very hard to make sure that what we need at this time is what we're going to have. I have vetted everything that I'm going to offer on this channel, meaning I have walked through it. I've walked through it again and again and again. I am my own lab rat when it comes to testing my work. If it doesn't work for me, it won't work for you. So what would be the point? So the good news is that what I have to offer you, it is real. It's really authentic. It does work. I stake my life on that claim. And my job, I'm, one of those messengers. So we are showing up all over the place right now. And it's so fascinating because when I started this journey myself, there were all of a sudden, there were all of these people starting the same kind of journey. It was like how it is now, where there's an inundation of light workers and seers and readers and, healers. It's just popping up, like sprouting up, out of the very earth herself. When I started this journey, I started in as a channel, That's how it started for me. And at the same time, it was a time when a lot of people, just as I just mentioned, started channeling at the same time. It was like, I had this really, really funny thought. It's kind of crazy. But there was a movie back in the 50s called no, not that one. Oh my gosh, I can't remember it. Wait, it's about the kids that with their eyes. The Village of the Damned. Okay. And in the Village of the Damned, these kids were all born to these women who got pregnant just out of nowhere. They just woke up and there were all these women in this village that were pregnant. And they had been impregnated by some, entity, foreign entity or whatever. And it was these kids that all had these really, they had these strange eyes. They all were very blonde and blue-eyed, and they were all connected to each other. So these mothers gave birth to all these children, and then they started moving in a pack. And it goes downhill from there. But the whole idea, the reason I'm sharing it is because it's like that. It's like not, in lieu of people getting pregnant, it's just like there is this inundation that's happening like all over in communities, It's a very rich time. It's a very fertile time for truth right now. And it was when I started this journey, one of those times, really fertile. Everybody was talking about things we had not been dealing with at the time, these insights, these things that we didn't know anything about. Okay, so that is happening now again. So it makes sense to me, and I just saw this now. It makes sense to me that I am here talking to you. It's like, okay, we're here again. This is one of those major times. Let's look lively. And so this way that we're coming through with our messages, it's incredible. So I know that I am where I need to be. I need to be here doing this. I've got so many things to share. It's kind of crazy. But, when you've been going on all these years, accumulating and collecting, but also just fine-tuning, and getting ready for the world to be ready for what you have to say, because what you have to say would not make a whole lot of sense like this until a time like now. It's like, oh, okay, now we're in sync. Now I can tell you what is happening here. I can tell you why this is happening. I can tell you what we need to do about it. That God, love, have been planning this whole thing, this rescue mission for the human race. And when I connect with the part that I recorded earlier, I will tell you a story about how all of that happens. And I was listening to it and I thought, oh, I don't want to re-record. This is good. I like this because it taps into exactly how I would like to present it to you. So I'm going to find a place in the recording I did earlier where I sound like I at least have a pulse. And then I'm going to segue from this introduction into that. I'm not sure how seamless it's going to be. I'm not that worried. It'll make sense. I promise you that. I'm so grateful to be able to finally get my first present day video out, and I'll explain why I did it the way I did it and why I put the material out I put first. That's all there. But this was more for me to get a decent introduction, and so I have, and I'm so grateful that you guys are here and you're listening. Thank you for listening. And so I will see you in the next iteration coming up right now. This is all about us, our human journey. It's about where we came from and where we're going, how we perceive who we are and what we're capable of doing. All of those things have come to bear in this time, right now, where we are on center stage of planet Earth, and the ways that things have evolved and manifested. we are being thrust forward in ways that we may feel like we're not prepared, but we are. And sometimes being prepared isn't always knowing or understanding what's going down. Being prepared is on a deeper level, having done the thing in front of you to do. And voila, here you are, right here facing a reality that is both falling apart and coming together. One thing is leaving, another thing is coming in, and we're in the middle of it all. Our human story is about to get really real. Our way of perceiving who we are and why we're here is like top of the list important. Being able to realize that we're going to have to divest ourselves of a lot of notions and ideas and beliefs that we have been trained to believe are so or not so. So we have a lot of work to do as human beings. Not that we haven't been working so far, but yeah, this is a whole other level of work. And you know what's really incredible is that this is all about us working on ourselves. That's the job at hand. Now we are front and center of our own reality. We are the ones that get the attention now. We get the work. We do all the breaking down and rebuilding of ourselves because we are the vessel. We are the message. We are the path. Okay, and what is the path? The path is the vehicle that's going to get us back to the truth of who we are and back home to the energy that makes sense and absolutely adores us and would do anything and everything for us. And it's called love. There's a war going on between love and fear. Okay, you could take it up a notch or expand it and say between God and the devil, Satan, or that energy, if you want to operate on that level. I call love the heart of God and fear the heart of Satan, or the devil. I usually speak in terms of those energies, but at a time like this, really bringing in the full measure of what it is we're actually dealing with, because some people think in terms of and walk their lives in terms of God and the devil, heaven and hell. And let me say this, the reason that I started this channel with the videos that I did, the first part was, who is this person? So me allowing the video to speak of who I am, me speaking about it, what the path, a journey to the light is, and what the intention, what the goals, all of that. And even in the first 3, Walking Love on the Path, I spoke about our human conflict. And one of the major ones, and there are several, was race. And then I followed up the Walking Love on the Path with what color is my pain. I'm in the middle of putting up the 4 parts of that. Again, talking about race and culture. Why did I do that? Primarily so that there is a very basic, clear understanding that love and the path and loving yourself and all that encompasses the truth and authentic truth of being a human being is for everyone. I really needed to get that foundationally placed in the beginning. Absolutely every human being has a relationship with love. Every human being gets to love him or her or themselves. Every human being is the absolute ultimate in the eyes of God, Goddess. You see, no one gets left out. There's no hierarchy. No one is better, more worthy, or anything that you would surmise from how we do business on planet Earth. understand this. How we do business on planet Earth has been governed by the energy of fear, which earlier we determined is the dark side of the moon. Okay? The dark side of everything. All right? And I'm not dissing it overall. I'm just saying that when you go to an extreme, when the pendulum swings too far one way or the other, then you've got an issue. If we want to talk about the dark, if the pendulum swings all the way so far out of the light that you don't even know light exists, then you got a problem. And that's the problem we have with the energy that has governed everything that we are and everything that we've experienced and everything we've done as human beings has been governed by fear. And I lost my train of thought. This is something we have to get out in the open right now. This is classic Melana, Gemini Melana, Virgo moon Melana, who likes to make sure that she says a thing clearly, and the Gemini sun says, I'm just shooting this stuff out here. When you go off on those little specificities, I can't wait for you. I'm ready to go on to the next. And then little, Virgo moon self comes back and ready to pick up the thread, and the thread's gone because Gemini is taken off in the wind. And it's like, what were we talking about? What was the bigger story of the little thing I just ran? So I know that I'm talking about the whole reality of love and fear, and that fear is governing our story. I'm not sure where I left off at that point, but I know that we have been seeing, operating, walking life under a basic illusion. And the illusion is that foundational reality of the illusion is that we just really don't count. We don't matter. We're the last to get whatever needs to be gotten here as human beings. We're sort of the low aspect on the totem pole. And what goes lower than that is that there's a hierarchy. See, people at the top think that they are, they're golden. Fear is at the top, okay? No human being gets to be at the top. Fear is at the top. You have to realize who's in charge here, which means that even your smartest, richest, most powerful person is being managed. There is no human being on this planet that's not being managed by a power greater than it. Not only managed, but, operated. And so when you get that far to the end of the pendulum, when you get that far high up close to the energy that is basically oppressing the whole human race, the trickier it gets. It's like, you think you're doing great, you think you've got it all, and it's like, you don't want to get that close to that energy. You don't want to get that energy's attention like that. Because whereas you think, wow, I'm hanging with the big guy thinks, wow, how foolish of you to think that I would hang with any human being. What I'm trying to figure out is another way that I can use you to further oppress the people you perceive, because I taught you that, to be beneath you and to serve more my purpose of creating even greater oppression and greater harm to the human race. So unbeknownst to those at the top who think they are operating in greatness, who would probably be hard-pressed to admit, because somewhere deep inside you start to understand what you signed up for, that they are now enemies of their own people, and their people meaning the human race. So this is a whole other level of oppression that isn't about racial, and monetary. Okay, this is something deeper than that. You signed that contract in. Yeah, well, you're in a whole other category. I'm saying all of this to say that is the extreme of the dark. Okay, there is a balance where the dark or the shadow can be a teacher. It's the hidden, it's the unknown, it's what you can't see, but you train to be able to see it by intuitive perception, you know? We were supposed to be set up like that here. The human race was not supposed to be this mess that we are. And so many of us know that. It's like when people say, isn't this really, really kind of weird? Or they'll say, God, if you came to planet Earth, man, you must have made a wrong turn somewhere. Who would openly agree to come into a shit show like this? Like planet Earth is the place that people with any kind of sense or control over their destiny avoid. Send me to any other, place in the universe and the galaxy. I am not doing planet Earth. All right, so, bad rep? Kind of. If you can take a bigger picture look and see what the method of the madness was, we came here, it's like a training ground for growing and evolving as beings of light, getting out of the all light, so that we could encounter shadow, so that we could remember, we still have to evolve and grow. So the design was like really training camp. It was supposed to be challenging, but it wasn't supposed to be devastating. It wasn't supposed to be horrific. It was all these extremes that we have experienced here on planet Earth and wondered what the hell happened, what is happening, where is God, where is home, what is going on. These are very, very, very smart questions to be asking. And they do have questions that could kind of astound you, because this was not what God intended for us. God made an agreement with what is now our devil, what used to be an angel, Satan, the disturbed son, the disturbed angel, the one who felt like he didn't get enough love. God wanted to say, look, come on, Satan, I do love you. Your mother loves you. We all love you. Your siblings love you. So let me do this. Let me show you how much I trust you. Let me show you how much I love you. You know how parents, how it is with kids. You just you want to give them a chance. Even the ones who are having a rough time, especially the ones that are having a rough time, you want to give them a chance. And God gave, Satan was very special. He was troubled, but, brilliant. Very, very smart. And God said, I have a job for you that will use your skills perfectly. And that was, I'm starting this new training ground for, other angels, and, they need to go down and incarnate in human form so that they can get some training. And create this whole reality of human beings. Let's see how this project goes. This is, God had been working on this project of a race of beings that have all of the abilities within them, right? But not the consciousness to understand that, because if we came here knowing who we were, we'd be sitting here in Club Med. We just phone this stuff in. Yeah, I learned this. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, that was really great. And God knew how smart we were and said, no, they're going to have this little thing called amnesia. We're going to send them in and then wipe their whole consciousness out about who they were, so they would have to rediscover themselves. And that was part of the training. How well could we rediscover our greatness? How well could we rediscover that we were the best of the best? Because who would God send but the best of the best to populate and use this new project. So it's very strange that the best of the best thinks themselves the worst of the worst, but that was engineered to be that way. God didn't want us to think we were the worst of the worst, but somewhere in the middle, that balance between light and dark. Not that we were had this sense of self-excellence in the beginning. It was something we had to rediscover, but not that we were so nothing that the chances of us rediscovering anything were slim to none. So there's a way to understand that God found himself, God, goddess, they work as a team, found themselves in a situation. Because, Aaron's son set up a whole other reality for the human race and went dark, 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 darker. So that's not a training camp. This was a decimation. It was like this is when Satan said, yeah, you love me, right? I still not believe in that. I'm not feeling that, and I don't know how I feel about you. And me saying, yeah, kind of gone. Just hurt. Talk about needing some work on himself. And anyway, he decided he was going to betray God and just make the worst situation he could for God's little project. And you see, Satan always thought that God favored his other sibling, Christ, the other angel. It's like, yeah, favorite son, right? Not so, and the energy of love that God thought so highly of, this energy that, is the foundational reality of existence. And so Satan thought, let's build up, but in a really dark way, the energy of fear. Not let fear be a cautionary tale. Let fear be a hell. Let's really blow fear out of the water. Let's make fear, let fear represent the worst of the worst of the worst, and that it could completely undo and flip everything that God intended in love. As love was the energy that God intended human beings to use as a measuring stick, a way to understand their own nature. Because again, it wasn't about our suffering, it was about our learning. And so fear created its own version of love and replaced it with what God intended. So that's why everything doesn't work here. Nothing works on planet Earth. Everything has everything you do, everything you strive for, everything you hope for always has a price. And the price usually is so big that it takes away a big chunk of the joy you had in the thing that you got to do or receive. There's always a price. There's always a backhanded slap. Some people say it's when the other shoe drops. Always a friggin' other shoe dropping. There's always, raining on your parade. These phrases that I know. We know, how your dreams just get shattered. This stuff is like, what? It's like it doesn't even make sense. Life in fear in third dimension is nonsensical. It's not even logical. And we think we're the crazy ones for even seeing it that way, but we're not. So let me tell you, all of you, if you've thought this never made much sense or it just defies logic, what did we ever do? Oh yeah, fear had an answer for that. Everybody got born with original sin or something we did wrong. And it's like, but how could I do anything? I just friggin' got here. Yeah, oops, well, you don't get to know that. You just know that you are paying for the sins of somebody, And it's like, okay, and can I get rid of this original sin? Or can I stop it from happening, like it's happening to my children, my offspring? Nope, it just slapped on you the minute you're conceived, and there is nothing to be done about that. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not going against anyone's religion. I'm not here to take any of that on. I am just saying, in the scheme of things, when we're dealing with logic, it doesn't make any sense. You see, because it's like we keep running to try and find where the road of this design ends, and we just keep running, and then you go and you ask. You're told you could run as far as you want to, but you can't outrun, the sin that you have inherited. So you're being told that, you are going, you can't get out of this. Talk about feeling trapped. Talk about not feeling free. And then we weren't supposed to be free. We're supposed to be trapped. It's like, it's our penance. And we just have to keep praying to God. And then, it's just, it gets to be a little much. And that's an understatement. And I'm just saying that to say it is so much that it drives people insane. It is so much that's driving our whole human race insane. It's so much that it is completely demolishing life as we know it. Fear has run this game so long and so far, but actually, in truth, fear is running out of road because, see, the whole idea of the devil using fear as an energy was to completely destroy the human race. Can you look at where we are now? Does that seem far-fetched to you? It doesn't seem far-fetched to me. When I look out there and see what's happening today, in this moment even, with all of our structures that fear designed that are all falling apart in some way or other, with no fix in the wind, this is just a new version. The new version is the deterioration of everything. Whether it be about, abuse or, abuse of everything, abuse of sex, abuse of money, abuse of power, everything is at its maxed place of destruction. And we're kind of operating on those fumes right now. And the last coup d'éclat that fear intends is just the human race will self-destruct and just, and end again. And, here we are. We're facing that crossroads. But the interesting thing that's happening is that love, I said, love is back. Love is back. Love is here. Love had to be literally brought to planet Earth as an energetic force. And we're talking force, not just an underlying theme that we all came in with to remember who we are, but now the energy itself is here in force. Because God's like, you're not sacrificing the human race, son. You are out of line. And now fear basically is on the run. But before fear took tail, created all of these beings, endowed them with, injected them with the worst, the purest of fear's worst intention. The kill factor. It's like kill the light, kill the light. It's like Terminator time. It's like Walking Dead time. There are beings who fear, empowered to be able to do fear's worst. It's not even a human thing. Because we have fear created really dark, realities for human beings to get caught up in and do really egregious, horrific things to other human beings. We've had that. We've found systems. We understand to a degree. Okay, these are troubled beings. And usually these beings who go to that extreme have so much self-hatred and hate of those they thought should have loved them better or loved them at all. But we created a justice system that somehow we attempt to manage this type of behavior, but it's within the context of something we say, okay, we can track them. These new beings, they're not in our spectrum. They're not even human in their response or actions. They are outside, and I will talk in great depth about those beings at another time. But these are the beings, that hearkened in this whole focus on narcissists, the human beings with no soul, the soulless ones, the ones with no lacking any kind of compassion and then you have them, the gang stalking, the psychic gang stalking. Yeah, these are groups of narcissists who come together and their goal, they're not just here to kind of F with you. They come at you to destroy you. So we have these beings who have been endowed with these abilities, and their focus is very Terminator-like: kill, 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 kill anything in the light, kill the ones at the top, kill the light workers, kill the spiritual activists, kill the healers, kill the ones that are attempting to usher in and put in place love's principles. Kill them. Because if they get to do what they are able to do, it could change the trajectory of the human race from destruction to construction and away from fear and into love. And then once that happens, fear has lost. Well, so that is the war. I learned about all of this firsthand, this whole business of what fear's design is, and I will address that at another time. It's not typically throughout the years where my relationship and understanding of fear had gone. This I wasn't anticipating. This I wasn't expecting, and to the degree that I was so innocent of it happening that it happened to me. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to talk about that in another session here. But this is kind of to give you an overview of what the lay of the land, where we are now. And let me bring it full circle and say this. This is why we have to learn about love. It's like we got to study this like we haven't studied anything else. You think you studied in school, you think you went to university, the colleges to study. This is what you need to be studying, is the truth about love, because this is our friggin' ticket home. Okay, back home to get out of this hell on earth. All right? To the way to understand the nature of love and how it truly functions, not what we learn about I love you, blah, 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 from fear, is you have to love yourself. That is imperative. You have to love yourself. You have to learn to love yourself. That is the key to the reality of love. All right? And then opening that door, the reality of living in fifth dimension, because that is a true thing. All right? That's love's home here on planet Earth, is fifth dimension. Okay? The doorway to fifth dimension comes from you having the key. And everybody has these keys. The key to love. You gain access by learning to love yourself. You have to understand the nature of love in order to operate in it, in order to live in its dimension, in order to live in what we have been told is like heaven on earth. It literally is, and not in that way that we go, oh, this pious heaven on earth. No, it's a functioning reality that greatly reproduces what we had before we ever came here. It's kind of a way station, a holding station. It's relearning who we are before then we go back home. We're not ready to go home. This whole business of how death is handled, all the that's what we have had to do, Death being scary when it's just transitional. It's just a transition. I mean, we've just had a rough time, okay? We had to deal with some very rough things, and death is one of those. Is a tragedy, and it's, and the manners of death, my God, even that, it's like, give me a break. This is insanity. How are people supposed to live every day not knowing where that death shoe is gonna drop? This does not make any sense. This is just like, and then told, oh yeah, well, stress will kill you. This whole damn thing is just one stress. Everything about being a human being is a stress factor. So where are you supposed to not be stressed out? Where is that place where there is no stress? Somebody show me, tell me in 3D. Find me a little patch of stressless ground. Good luck with that. Okay, we are asked to do the impossible in an impossible situation. So 5D, that's where love is. That's where you go to decompress. That's where you go to heal. That's where you go to see, like, oh my God, it's okay. Love is here. That's where you go to weep tears of joy. I am safe. I can breathe. And because we came here to do it, God's like, live a little. Live in love. Do what my vision was. Because ultimately, after our training, and then when we started to wake up and realize, oh yeah, we're just here for training, let's party, before we go home. Let's do this thing. Let's leave a legacy where you come and do the training, then you realize, and then you go, wow, here's home right here on planet Earth. It was supposed to be that way. And it is that way. But you gotta do the work to get home on Earth, and then you just ascend. There's transcendence where you move from your earthly journey to your soul's journey, and your soul's journey, boop, 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 takes you home. That's a kind of a really cool way to leave. Instead of all this jacked up shit that happens to you, just snatched from here and snatched from there. So, whoa. This is not something that had to have happened. I know we take it for granted, and I probably sound like a crazy person saying that it doesn't. None of that has to be that way, and I accept that. But bear with me. I have done this journey, the self-love journey. I, having done that, was tasked with getting from 3D to 5D, using that as my path within myself, is using my self-love as a pathway to fifth dimension. When we first arrived in fifth dimension, it was like arriving. I always say this because I can't think of anything that I can liken it more to. Arriving in the Wild West, just like, it's pioneer time. There was nothing there. It's like, oh God. Okay, just like wide open space and no structures. It's like, okay, which is fascinating because I'm sure people think, wow, okay, well, you arrive in 5D and it's castles and beautiful shimmery. No. It's called roll your sleeves up, because we have to build in fifth dimension. And the beautiful part about it is we get to rebuild ourselves, rebuild our lives, rebuild everything only in love. You don't want to miss that experience. See, because we were so used to 3D that when you have all of these shiny things and the perfect building and the perfect everything accessible to you, all right there. And that's when you've made it. That's not making it. I mean, that's nice and everything, but don't get too comfortable. The real cool stuff is in building it yourself. Rebuilding you, and no one can do it. So what buildings or things, anything would be there, because the buildings are us. The buildings are us. We are the buildings, okay? And we house the buildings. We have to build from within us. We have to build our lives. But that's the whole fun of it. That's the whole magic. That's like the wow factor, is rebuilding yourself and your life in love. It is unbelievable. It is something that takes your breath away daily, and you just think, God, I don't know if I can continue breathing. This is so wild. Love is wild. Love, not in being wild, but the whole way that it functions is so friggin' magical. So magical, so powerful, so logical, so grounded, It's like, it's like nothing else I've ever experienced. And of course, why would it be? But it is an incredible, incredible place to be, to arrive at. And what is equally incredible is the journey to get there. And so what I am here to do is to make all of what I know available. I also am going to have another channel where I have tools. Oh yeah, we have to have tools. And over the past several years, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, I started a long time ago conceiving of, but then when it came time to get from 3D to 5D, I realized I needed some tools. I needed to know how to navigate this. I needed to understand the walk of it, because I knew I would have to share it, and I needed to be able to say, it's here to here to here, right? So I have what I call templates, and I have hundreds of them that I created, and all different levels. There's subliminal messaging that I wrote all myself, and they're really specific to the whole reality. First, about the reality of loving the self, the basics, how to deal with fear. And the first templates are letting go of fear, and they're just there's a ton of them, that targets these specific fears. And I have so much to tell you about that. And then doing the root work, and then when killing something actually is a positive thing. So what we do when we kill roots, because roots are what keep us tethered to old patterns, old behaviors, everything. And once you kill roots and you replace them with roots based on love, voila, everything above ground changes. And it is the one thing we have not done in any of the things that have really buried the human race. Like race, the issue of race, like the issue of male, female, like the issues of family. These major roots, the relationship root, it's like all these roots that are the money root, all of these roots that are so weighed down with failure. That's what they are, but fear wanted it that way. You're not supposed to win at any of these things. Not family, not friends, not anything. Do you notice that everything comes with a freaking downside? And a downside that can bury the very thing that you have been building, and it just hovers over you. And it can happen at any time. You can lose your money, you can lose your friends, you can lose your marriage. A loss is just fear's biggest game. Setting human beings up to be excited, to believe that we can do this, and then pulling the rug out. Infidelity, child abuse. I mean, we can't get one good thing and just keep it and run with it and build on it. And that is the difference between love and fear. In love, that never happens. In love, you build on love. So there's no other shoe. There's no, you got to pay for this. There's no, Now you get to see why you can't have this, blah, blah, blah. There's a purity and a constancy in love. Love wants to see you win. Just like it's like how you imagine God, and God is like in your corner, like your ultimate parents, and they just love you and they want the best for you. That's love. Love reps that, okay? And you feel it and you know it. So the templates those are going to be on another channel that I'm going to start. And that's my next big project, but I needed to get here first, speak to you, let you know that I love you. I love you all so much. God, I love the human race. I can't hardly stand it. I love you so much, and I love us, and I know we are great. We are so great. We are so great. And to see people realize that when they love themselves, to me, it never gets old. It's breathtaking to see a person first see themselves, like, after all the dark and all the clouds and all the misinformation and to finally see, this is me. Yeah, babe, this is you. It's been you all along. It is an earth-shattering experience. And every person who loves themselves, learn to love themselves, has that experience. Okay. So I come with messages. I want to give a shout out to all the 5D workers on our planet, all the healers, all the light workers, my God, all the tone makers, all these brilliant beings who craft these tones for us to heal. It's our medicine, heal any part of the body, energetic, physical part, mind, everything. They're just brilliant. All the subliminal makers who come and they create this text to basically what we're doing is we're refurbishing our subconscious and getting out all of that old fear-based, messaging, and it just keeps running it like a tape. And so that's why we do subliminal work, to kill that, cleanse all of that out, and pour up-to-date, love-centered, love-focused truth. So you guys, I love you. You have saved my life more than once. I swear you have been like right there. You are doing God's work. You are doing incredible, incredible work. Don't think for 1 minute you're not seen or appreciated. You are foundational to this transformation of the human race from fear to love. And I would start naming names, but I wouldn't stop. I love you all, and I will be showing up and giving a shout out and saying hi to you personally, because you guys are amazing. And then our reporters, the tarot readers and the seers who have just been inundating YouTube with their messaging and their insight. Oh my guys, I mean, hot off the friggin' press, they can't track, the whole storyline of what's happening. There's brilliance there. And of course, let's say this, because we live in this duality with fear, there are going to be some dark people, dark energies trying to mimic the light. So with all of these tools, you have to just be discerning and sense in your gut whether something feels right, sounds right, and if it doesn't, steer clear of it. But for the most part, these beings are just rocking it. They're just like the news. It's like, what is the news in the whole reality of love and fear? And sometimes they report on what the energy of fear and darkness and Satan and all of that. And they swing and they talk about, what's happening with the divine and what the messages are from there. It's brilliant. I love it. This is an incredibly exciting time to be living. It is cutting edge. It is the place you want to be as a human being, because this is when it all turns. This is the war. We're in the middle of a war between the light and dark. I mean, this is a phenomenal time to bear witness to God, to God energy, making such a strong presence on this planet. It's like wow, home has come to planet Earth and saying, no more, my children. No more. Let's get you out of here. This was never what was meant for you. This wasn't you, and it's not your fault. And you didn't do anything wrong. You made the best out of a really shitty situation. You don't have to wonder whether or not it's you. It's not. It's not. We are responsible for everything we've done, whether we're in fear or if we're in love. But I tell you, the overriding context of everything, you didn't do that. You did not do that. So the first thing you can unload is the guilt that somehow I screwed up. You didn't. You made the best out of an unbelievable situation. Okay. And God knows that. Okay. And they, because God is just so badass, but we'll talk about that. Please. They understand. They get it. If how they feel. If anybody is owed an apology, it's you guys. It's us. Don't apologize for doing everything in your power to survive. Don't apologize for that. We came here with that thrust for life, that intention to survive and overcome. That's the good in us. But we were handed a situation with not the tools that we needed. And, the devil, the dark, blocked out all of God's attempts. Because when God gave this to that entity, it had to give it a lot of rain to show it, I trust you, I believe in you. It gave it a lot of power, so it made it very, challenging to try and regain that power back. And you would say, well, he's God, he can do anything. Yeah, but you have to understand God has a code that God operates by. God is like, if I tell you to do it, trust me, I'm doing it too. It's like, yeah, but that would not work best for everyone. And sometimes we don't understand that we have to go through stuff. We have to bear up. We're in a very toxic situation, and we're going to feel it, But it doesn't mean something is wrong. It doesn't mean that God got us to don't love you. It doesn't mean, it doesn't mean any of that. Look to your brother. You want to know everyone's favorite sibling? I have to say it is Christ. Look to your brother. Don't look up at him. Look to him. Look across to your brother and say, dude, you went through some really hard stuff. Remember that? It's like if you got through that and you got home and you chill, I can do that. And this whole love thing is what Christ came to bring to planet Earth. This was the beginning of getting us out of this mess. Now this part of it is the walk. This is when we start walking out. This is when the whole idea of love that Christ now becomes actualized in a walk. This is the path, a journey to the light. That's all that is. That's all that means is this is that journey. All right? Okay. I feel like I have said a lot. I hope that this recording comes out okay. I didn't test it. Silly me, because I felt if I turned it off and listened to it, I wouldn't be able to do it again. This took a lot of nerve for me to do this first one, but I needed to do it, and I hope the sound quality is good enough, and we'll see. But I love you all so much, and I hope this helps to explain why I just landed on YouTube and started talking about race. The talking about race was the big embrace. It was to say, each and every one of you, I love you. God loves you. Love loves you. You are all welcome You're all a part of the greater story of what it means to be. And every one of you would be missed if you weren't a part of it. You see. So you are so loved, so seen, so heard. And there's help now. We're coming to walk everybody home. All of those who choose to come. It's like the ark, only it's not 2 by 2, it's 1 by 1. Because this is the self-actualization journey. This is coming into oneness with the self. It was never all about pairs at this stage of the game. Pairs was about reprocreation. Pairs were not about how you operate. Once you've done that, you retain your individual reality, but fear thought better, let's just keep them attached at the hip and have the human race think that everything about who they are depends on someone else or what someone else believes. I mean, again, this is all not true. It comes down to you. You are the one that says what is, what isn't about you. And in a healthy, balanced reality and love, you really don't give a shit what other people think. Not because, but because it just never was a thing. It was never meant to be a thing. It was only created as a thing to distract you from focusing on you, because fear knew that once we focus on ourselves, we would learn about love and self-love and have a key, and fear would be out of a job. Which is what essentially is happening. Okay? So, I'm going to go now, Gemini, that I am. I always have to figure out how to say goodbye. So I am going to take my leave. I love you, and I will be posting another video soon. I'm going to finish up with What Colors My Pain, and I'm also going to start Walking Love in Fifth Dimension. Oh, it's like everything, okay? The whole journey when I first heard of Fifth Dimension and how I learned and then shared how it had to work, what the journey was about, what pieces we needed. It started years ago, and then I'm going to start giving updated versions on what it's like to live in Fifth Dimension, what the whole reality around living in love, all of that. So I'm going to give the foundational reality of where it starts, and then I'm going to bring it into present day and how it's the operating. All right. I love you. I am going. Mwah. Take care. All right.